Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. It's happening. It's actually happening. Everyone, don't panic. Our defendant is Lord Baroque Van Zeeks for the murder of Inspector Gregson. I am clearly still in the denial phase in the 5 stages of grief, because there's no way in hell Gregson died, damn it, but I am almost positive we're going to see some evidence today that he did, in fact, bite the bullet. Specifically, maybe a photographic print will come up, and I don't know how I'm going to react when I actually see it. I'm going to cycle through the 5 stages right quick. I'm going to have to accept it if I'm going to defend Lord Van Zeeks. The guy's put his utmost faith in us, and that's asking a lot from the guy, considering he hates Nipponese, but he needs us to protect him from Kazuma, who's prosecuting this case. Good God. This is a whirlwind of drama, man, and I'm here for it. Anyway, it's the 2nd November, 8:56 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. We still have a couple of loose ends to tie up as well, including the treasure that we uncovered all the way back in Case 2 of this game. I wonder how that's going to play into what's going on right now. There's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Even more so this time. Actually, no. It's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There's a menacing tension in the air here today, isn't there? I suppose. Thank you for reading my mind again, Susato. Yes, I think so. Oh, you! The menacing air! Welcome. Can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details, however. I understand that no jury has been selected. Oh no! But the summation examination, that's the crutch of my argument half the time. A trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the trial of the professor 10 years ago. It's like every Japanese court case that takes place 100 years from now. The closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes, I almost forgot you existed. Have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruhodo? An outright victory for science, you must agree. I didn't even get to do a dance of deduction this chapter. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your little hair problem. Ha! What to one man is a little hair problem, is to another a day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear, how awful for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And you. I see London's celebrated great detective is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow. Compared to my paltry engagements for the few trivial cases, the Reaper's overbearing presence is a far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. Really now? And whilst I may not agree with your methods, there is at least one point on which I would readily commend you. What an honor. And that would be your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, please. You're making me blush. I can't be doing that in front of Van Zeeks and before trial. After all, behind this lawyer, there is a very great mind. My own. You bastard. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Yeah, I think we are. Sorry to barge in. Oh, hello. An unlikely duo. Gina. What's that on her arm? It's a morning band, I suppose. I didn't realize until you pointed it out, Ryunosuke. Father, shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see our country's up-and-coming student in action. Can we put more pressure on me, please? By all means, crush me. God, I feel like I'm in a submarine right now. Heading to see the Titanic. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Gina. Odo. I guess she's unhappy that I'm representing Van Zieks. Oh, yes, Gina? Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was him who, what killed the boss? I promise I'm not betraying you. I'm sorry, Gina. But I just don't believe that. Well, if it weren't him, who was it? I don't know that. Yet. I don't care who calls him what. The Reaper's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him who killed the boss, then God help him. I think he realizes that. Fiery eyes indeed. I should have killed you when I had the chance. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. Eh? At least that may be some solace to the deceased. Oh. Poor Gina. Please, Odo. Get whoever did this. For the boss. Oh, Gina. Don't worry. I will. I hate feeling this useless. But there's nothing I can do. You did your part, okay? You gathered the evidence, you inspected the crime scene. Now it's up to me. So you gotta find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court will be in session shortly. Make your way to the courtroom at once, please. Alright then, here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Van Zieks. I can only imagine, like, how anxious Naruhodo must feel right now. Like, it's like waiting to go for your exam, but 10 times worse. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in this trial. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. Oh God. And whatever truth is revealed, Shums is behind it all. We're going to have to look it straight in the eye. I mean, I'm standing by that Lloyd Strongheart is the mastermind behind everything, because he has to be, right? 2nd November, 9:20 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. 9:20 is an odd time to start. Is there anyone in the gallery? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here to conduct the fair and just trial of the defendant, Baroque Van Zieks. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin? The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Kazuma-sama. Oh, Susato, I'm so glad you're still on my side. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long. It feels... But I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench. The so-called Reaper of the Bailey has been a scourge like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Oh, so now you're brave enough to throw that out there, are you, Judge? When he was prosecuting still, I don't recall you, giving him a lecture. Today we must uncover the truth behind this scourge. In other words, the judge has already made up his mind that Van Zieks is a dickhead. This trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder. Yeah, we got a lot of deaths to clear up. The truths revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions through the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial with no members of the public present. Okay, so I guess Herlock Sholmes doesn't count as a member of the public unless he's not in the gallery at all. By Her Majesty's direct orders. How will that work, my lord? How am I supposed to do a summation examination? You'll have to do it on me. The burden of all arbitration and adjudication falls on my shoulders. Therefore, as you will see, the juror's bench shall remain vacant today. If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord? They are members of the judiciary, here to witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial. Members of the judiciary. Oh my, this is a very unusual trial already. There is, of course, another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings on which I must elaborate. The counsels for the prosecution and the defense are both aliens of Great Britain. Yes, we are. We're here to take over. I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. And as I stand here in this courtroom now, I'm quite certain. This is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma. Very well. Let us commence proceedings. Prosecutor Asogi, your opening statement, if you please. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on 1st November at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Fresno Street, on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property. Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson. A name known very well indeed to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of this country's grimmest cases 10 years ago. The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported at the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly. How was the range been determined? There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range. I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel. The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. Inspector Gregson's autopsy report stating that death was instant, which is, a mild relief, resulting from a bullet shot at close range. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. But first, let me check out the full autopsy report. Victim, Tobias Gregson, male. Coroner, this time, is Maria Gorey. 45, British, time of death, blank. We don't have one. Interesting. Cause of death, victim was shot in the chest at close range from the front, resulting in instant death. Scorch marks at point of entry. The bullet exited the body from behind. Additional observations. The caliber of the gun used matches that of standard issue firearms for members of the judiciary. Like Lord Strongheart's gun, clearly. And have you managed to ascertain the odor of this firearm? No, my lord. Not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama. For not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven. I guess he's a by-the-book fella. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There's a candelabrum mounted on that wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yes, that's right. Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. I guess we should just have aliens run the court more often. The setting of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please. As you wish, my lord. Crime scene floor plan has been entered into the court record. Plan of the small room in the building of the flats on Fresno Street where the body of the victim, Inspector Gregson, was found. The body of the victim, Inspector Gregson, in case you forgot. It was him. In case you still don't believe it was him. Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode? No, my lord. The victim is rented to a Mr. Hugh Boone. But there is precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, he found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot. So, the details of the case are clear. In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. A name, please, counsel. Naturally, the accused himself. Lord Van Zieks? As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken, and will be compelled to tell the truth. Very well. Let the defendant take the witness stand. Well, yeah, I can't imagine who else. I mean, we got some witnesses, but could they be the ones that were in Sholmes's suite? So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Baroque Van Zieks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zieks, that you heard Prosecutor Asogi's opening precis? I did. It is alleged that you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this? Yes, my lord. Please don't, slam your leg on the witness stand, or pull out your hallowed chalice. Then I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why you were there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question, and what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth. Oh, that confidence, God. I must say, Lord Van Zieks, I never imagined this day would come. Well, you'd finally pay for your heinous crimes, you scumbag. Yes, I can say that now. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come. But since you became known as the Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Oh dear. Your formal testimony then, witness. I'm gonna find contradictions in Lord Van Zieks' testimony. Oh boy. The facts of the incident. I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. You were investigating Gregson? Why were you investigating him? When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. Whoa, okay, bizarre turn of events. That testimony was the whole truth? It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants, and moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right. You haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. Oof. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words, Prosecutor Asogi. It would appear to be a singular tale indeed. Singular isn't the word. It's laughable. What's got into Cosma? He's not behaving like himself at all. Well, Van Zieks is the one who prosecuted his father. It's revenge. Very well then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. I'm surprised that, it's not Asogi who has to press things with regards to Van Zieks. Wow. A different intro plate, I see. The facts of the incident. I was investigating Gregson and my inquiries had led me to that address. What the hell does that mean? You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry, I could have sworn you said you weren't at liberty to say. I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed. Is the court to understand, then, that on the day in question you followed the victim to the scene? No, I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. So you didn't see your magnificent mug prominently on display? 10 years earlier? The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office? In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense. Well, I'm not in fucking Japan, am I? As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zeeks? I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim. And yet, you refused to tell the court why. Well, high drama here. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Ugh. Why did I ever think I could defend this man? What have I got myself into? When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside and I saw no one. Hold it! Had you ever been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of the place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light inside when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything. But at 5 p.m. the sun would only just have gone down. It would still have been reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't say for certain. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. There it is. There's a small disc in the room just here. Yes, I remember. And there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and started towards the desk to investigate. In the dark. Brave man. And what did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk. A moment later, I heard the gunshot, spun around, roll on the floor. Hold it! How'd you see the revolver on the floor? It was dark. So, who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there. Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is I didn't sense another's presence. Then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room? No, that's out of the question. Oh. I'm gonna put my finger down now. Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. Ugh, this is going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct. And I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part. Presumably then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that you somewhat hastily took into your hands. In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. Oh god. Oh, speaking of, lack of power, but then, where on earth was the gun that was fired? Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that. Ugh. Christ almighty. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume? That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street. Who are these merchants? A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements stating that they heard the gunshot. And without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? They burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and almost gave me a heart attack in the process. Oh wow, you even get scared? But you're supposed to be the Reaper! The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion, and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. You tell me you held on to the gun that entire time? Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction. And that's when you saw the body. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson. Most curious circumstances indeed. How the inspector was killed, or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere, I have no idea.
Objection!
Oh! Whoa! Excuse me, this is my cross-examination. Hey, no, you can't do that. Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Baroque Van Zieks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean? Is that his objection music? How dare he? Good gracious, counsel. The defendant is lying, you say? In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabrum. How does that prove anything? If you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. Cosma. Still working on your English, I see. One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle. The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length. Oh my god, it is his objection theme! You son of a bitch. Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long. We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ugh! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning. So, the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. He's got the same slam as I do. And the accused's claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now to the next lie. The next one? There's more? The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth! In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right. We saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they included a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. And there is a common thread linking all of the documents on that board. Indeed? What is this common thread, Counsel? They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Baroque Van Zieks. All of them? And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted. Good lord! Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today. because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Ugh. Oh no. But where does Mr. Vigil fit in all this, you know? Because he's gone missing. And I'm thinking perhaps it was Vigil that died and not Gregson. I don't know. Maybe, I'm still in denial, okay? But there's so many moving parts to this. I am so excited to see how it all falls into place. In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout and his base of operations. Well, okay, alright, maybe the candle I'll give you. But his base of operations? The Reaper's hideout? He needs a hideout? Why couldn't he just have the corkboard? I mean, I can understand why he'd have the corkboard somewhere other than his residence. And yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. Backwards? Explain, Counsel. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine. By the Reaper's hand. What? Okay, why would he blatantly kill him there, though? Would you for someone who's careful to have his own hideout, would you kill someone at said hideout? Order! 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 To the Judiciary Committee in the gallery. Very well. I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Baroque Van Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Asogi's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts. All I have done is state the truth as I know it. Cosmo's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable. Counsel, you will submit the board that you just showed the court as evidence. I believe it to be fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. The notice board has been entered in the court record. Finally, I really want to take a look at this. Freestanding notice board completely covered in notes and articles related to the victims of the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Shh. He's crossing his T's and dotting his I's, but first, before you do that. Of course, we're not going to get a detailed look, I don't think, but nonetheless. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there? This paper from 10 years ago is browning with age, look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. McGilded? Oh. I was going to say, it's the same Red-Headed League advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out. Of course, he wasn't responsible for McGilded's death. And do you remember? There was a red hairpiece at the scene too. Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the Red-Headed League then? That's it? That's all we get? A freaking clipping about the Red-Headed League? We got a bloody handprint. Usually when you have to flip this over. Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruhodo, look! Oh yes. It's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear. How disturbing. The Dark Brotherhood's been here. There is a bloody handprint on the backside. We know. Is that everything? Of course, there had to be something on the back. I don't think there's anything on the bottom or the top. So we can safely move on with our lives. Actually, I don't think I've even taken a look at this red hairpiece. Probably should do that. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean. That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think? I suppose, yeah, you're not wrong. Wait, was that all? Yes, okay. I've already looked at this, I think. Yes, okay. Just making sure. Cosmo's obviously prepared, so I need to be too. Crime scene floor plan. Not a lot going on here. Right. Let's proceed. Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question. They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot and went running into the room. 3 of them, I think it was. Very well, lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand. Certainly, my lord. Good God. Oh, not you again, Beppo! Jesus. So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us. We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live. I give them all a vacant stare as they walk down Fresno and spin a few words to a verse for them. Ah. Would I be right in assuming that all 3 of you make your living by selling wares on the street? Hey, everyone calls me Gossip. I sell jaunty little titbits to passers-by, you know. Titbits? Oh, shit. Jaunty little titbits? Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your ginnel, that is. I need to lock down a voice. It's hard. It's hard for me to keep consistent. I'm one man. Gossip, okay? Make it easy for me. 6 is the price, not a penny less. There we go. Let's go with a lisp. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try the man. Give him the money and see what it is. Pay the man, counsel. Alright. 6 it is. You won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on Slight Street have just had twins. Cool. Story, bro. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, innit? I want to spread. But that's up to you, and your mouth, of course. I've got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 a piece it is, if you're curious. I am curious, yes, about what's going on just under that fat bottom lip of yours. I always want to know what's underneath. Namely, that unusual bruise or whatever it is that's poking out from under your collar. What about the next witness, then? What name do you go by and what do you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, isn't it? I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids. Wow. Responsible? Oh my god. 6 a pop. What'd you say? Is that about to detonate? You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell? Oh yeah. The second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100, they could blow up the school. Wow. Sheesh. Not the most savory of ideas, young lady. We are in a court of law. Jesus Christ. What'd you say then, eh? Want to part with 6 for a pop? Wait, what? You want me to buy one? Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you can blow up the whole courtroom. Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right. Pay the woman, counsel. Wait, are you sure, Judge? You'll be out of a job. Alright, I'll buy one. Not 100. Lovely stuff. Right then. This is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus Special. Only 600 pence. 600? It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. But they might name a day after me. Instead of Guy Fawkes, they will have Ryunosuke Naruhodo Day. It's a bit of a mouthful. I'm sure it'll last. Venus Firecracker has been added to the court record. The Venus Special Firecracker consisting of 100 smaller fireworks at 6 each. What sort of a bang could it make? Well. Maybe we do need to blow up the courtroom to get out of here. And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell? I'm a think-a-me. Think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go on about me. They call me the observator. Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich and you know it. So, you don't actually sell anything? A problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. I give advice, I do, and think what it means. I don't actually sell anything, no. Come to think of it, hot, actual something? Hello? Pity. No more purchases today, please. Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems. They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning until night, my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene. I see. And thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose? Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witnessed the crime. Well, I'll be begged, I thought. Just between us.
Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw.
What I think is, if all what we see is light and shadow, playing with our eyes, is any of it real? Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of these three witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident. Here goes. Witness testimony. The witness's account. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Finished everything from the moment they went in the building.
It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang.
Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what had happened. I ran into the room, there he was. The Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body.
I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper.
Okay, so the gunshot was a firecracker going off? If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Baroque Van Zieks. I've seen pictures of that Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folk love stories like this. I made myself a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. The entire building? Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. I see, the expensive part's probably the reason why. People will stay in those terrible conditions, unfortunately, so long as it's cheap. The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. And we know the leasehold... God, listen, I'm juggling too many voices!
And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Bone.
Hugh Boone! Oh my god! Well, who's in control of the situation? The testimony the court has just heard would appear to leave little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime. No. Lucky there's no jury here. They'd have declared him guilty already. Thank you for your candor, my lord. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses. Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. Okay. Well, it's do or die time. Cross-examination, the witness's account, but I need my full strength to break down the three of these together. Goodness me, we can already see the wheels are falling apart in terms of my voices and my critical thinking.